Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you! You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. Tyler Yonke, LPR. We're going midday. I'm trying to get everything set up, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to display the chat. That might be the only problem we're going to have here. But you know what? Let's do the studio chat. Maybe I will be able to do it this way. Otherwise, we're going to do a few things. We're going to talk about, we're going to do Nick Fuentes and Piers Morgan. We're going to play some clips from that interview debate today, right? I got a few little ones we can just show you there. Let's see if I could do it. I can't do that. Fred, hello, Tyler. Well, hello to you too. Welcome in. Just give me a tad bit of seconds here. You can just hang on. So the Nick thing, I didn't think it went actually particularly well for Nick, today. But, you know, we can all debate that, whether that's the case or not. You know, captured device. I'm trying to put it in here so you can see the chat. I'm trying to do screen capture. Let's do that. Okay, hang on, everybody. I want to do this one here. It's not going to work. All right, well, here we are. Either way, so Tyler Yonke, I've mentioned my name a few times. We're in here. We've got chat afternoon boys. All right, thanks. So Eddie's in here. It's perfectly fine. Here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to walk over the criminal complaint. And by the way, so now I got my coffee. Hope everyone's doing good on this Monday. I had to tear apart another bathroom Saturday. Did some other. Anyway, it's a lot of work. Hope everyone's doing good. I am going to tonight. We're doing the Dad podcast with DL Cummings. This camera. I'm having trouble with this camera everywhere. Is it working here? Nope, doesn't work. DL Cummings, Jacob Winograd, and one other gentleman. So first time I'll be meeting him tonight, Adam or something like that. So I'll be meeting him. Good to go. And so check that out. And then tomorrow the Loser Cast. I don't know if I have so many of these things going on here. But we hit over 2,000 on the YouTube, and I know there's a lot of rambling here because I'm at the office. I usually have shit going on here, and for some reason it's just not doing it for me today. So we are going to talk about the criminal complaint for Brian Cole, but holy shit, this interview with this interview with Fuentes and what's his noodle, Piers Morgan just went off, and I watched it here while I was working, and I was frustrated. So we're gonna play a few clips. One is the way Piers goes at him. I'm just like, you're doing the gotcha stuff. I'm not a fan of that, and I know you're playing clips. Problem with some of it is Nick has gone out there and said these things, so then he's got to try to justify it. And then he did a few things here on Piers Morgan. One, he said, I'm a racist, and I'm like, no, you don't, because then Piers just kept using that against him the whole time, and it's like you unless you just want to take that thing on. He's like, fine, I own it, but I don't think he does own it. And the reason is because he kept pushing back against he got mad about Tucker Carlson calling him an anti-Semite, other things. And it's like, there's gray areas in racism. And an example that Piers first brought it up was, Nick talking about his dad saying, hey, we're not going to these certain restaurants. These are like black restaurants. And now his dad might have been making jokes. We make jokes. I don't know that my dad and my mom, say some things and we make jokes in the family. Should I be even bringing that to the podcast? And that's Nick's problem. Because then it's fair game. And, then he gets mad at Piers for saying, don't bring my dad in. He's not here to defend himself. Well, you brought it up in your own podcast. I mean, that's part of the problem, as Dave would say. So I get it, but it's also, there's some gray areas there, right? And so I just say for that, it's like, look, I'm going to say my whatever. If you really believe that I'm racist, then go ahead and think that, but I'm not. That's how I would do it. And Nick refused. He decided to just double down and go in all in. Now, I can see where he's making some jokes and whatnot here. And so we got the, are you and Jose going to debate the Dave Smith? No. I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because I think Jose is wrong. And there's just not much to debate. Let the people debate all that stuff, everyone else that they want to do. Okay? I just don't think I have it in me to do this. I do want to put the chat up. I've decided I do want to do that. So let's do application. Let's do window capture, Rumble Studio. There we go. I think we could do it that way. Perhaps. Is that it? Everyone can see. You know what? We'll chop this down a bit here. Let's see. Do that. No, that. No. We'll do those. Oh, don't want me to disappear. Okay, so we'll have this one, and then we'll just cut it down a bit, so you don't have to see all that other stuff going on in there. There it is. I think we could do it that way. So no, I'm not going to do anything with Jose on this. I just don't think it's not really my place to do it. I'm more on the Dave Smith stuff, and what's a dude got to do to get some pussy? I mean, that's kind of the thing we talked here about the Piers, even the Piers Morgan stuff here, right? With Nick Fuentes is. Piers says, "Hey, have you ever been in love? You ever got any pussy?" Basically, and he's like, "No." And then Piers seems to want to mock him for not getting laid, and it's like, okay, I get it. I have talked about that when he went on Tucker, and he's got all these prominent, and this is part of his issues, I believe, which is he wants to talk, and he'll, for the most part, except for the Holocaust, he basically says, I don't know, I'm not an expert on that. Well, he pretends like he's an expert on everything, especially women and marriage and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, you need to give that part up. That's just not in your wheelhouse. You shouldn't really be doing that. The debate was a shit show. Yes, I actually, I'm with you. I didn't think Nick held himself very well at all. And then there's the issue that we have of Nick, and I'm going to play some clips here. But then we also have the issue there of Nick when he went on. I didn't think his thing with such an odd dynamic of him going on Candace, gets mad that she pushes against him, goes on Tucker, then gets mad that he doesn't push against him, and then he goes on Dave Smith, and they seem to stroke each other off. I don't understand that. And then he comes on here. Now, I didn't think I thought it was frustrated me because Piers is doing some of his typical, and now I know Nick is, he's not calling it gotchas, and because he knows what's expected, but it's clips and then little things out of concept, out of context, in a sense. And Nick has been out there saying all these things for years, and I didn't think he did a good job of refuting some of the issues today. Matter of fact, Piers Morgan, people have ripped on Tucker for not pushing against Nick and getting his views on Stalin. Well, actually, Steven Crowder did get his views on Stalin. Okay, bad guy, but you can respect him for X, Y, and Z. Piers Morgan today says, hey, I'm going to talk to you about the Stalin stuff, and then never came back to it. Who's that? Who is he billing for this? I should be billing someone. I'm not. That's the sad part, but that's okay. I got a bunch of work. I'm going to end up doing some more stuff later on. So yeah. Okay. What I do want to do though, is go to let's start with the criminal complaint here. We are going to go over the clips. So you got to stick with me because we are going to go over the clips that I have of the Piers Morgan, Nick stuff. I have at least 4 decent ones. They're kind of in this similar vein. And I think it gives everybody a chance here. It gives Nick a chance to say some things. It gives Piers Morgan a chance. Where I think Piers kind of fucks up a few things as well. So how come this isn't expanding? Let's go. Sorry, folks. One of these days I will have this studio all in here. Okay, here's the criminal complaint we've got, and it is in the complaint, explosive, this is what the offenses are. Explosive device, transportation in interstate commerce with the intent to kill, injure, or intimidate any individual or unlawful to damage, to destroy any building, vehicle, or other real or personal property, explosive device, malicious destruction, or attempted malicious destruction by means of fire and explosive materials. I wonder if these are attempts and if there's any difference. Now, it's in Washington, D.C., so this is a federal court. Yeah, U.S. District and federal court. Okay, so here's the actual complaint affidavit. And by the way, I saw there's an by the way. Sup, Daddy Yankee? Yeah, thank you. Notice State for coming in. In case you're late here, we got our 2,000. We got our 2,000 viewers. I appreciate that. I put a little some clips out from the last episode, and one of those I gave some praise to Clint. Clint had Kyle Seraphin on, and Kyle went through a lot of this stuff. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed actually that interview with Kyle from Clint. There's a lot of good stuff there. You know, there's such a weird faction, and there's always people, and this is where I've come more and more, and you're going to see it even more so with the interview here, which is there's some things I really dislike about Nick, and it's not the things that they want me to dislike, okay? Just throwing that out there. Those are not the things that I dislike about Nick. But I tend to want to be defending him. I'm watching this, and the way Piers is going at him, I tend to want, almost like I'm defending him. And then I'm like, wait, like even the stuff about marriage, I didn't like the way Piers is pushing at him, but I'm thinking to myself, I've said these exact same things about Nick too. So I try to divorce myself and not just take a team ride on this, so to speak. And I think maybe that's what I didn't watch the debate thing with Jose. I was shocked that he said Jose came back and said Zulu won. I mean, I thought Zulu just in his there's 2 different types of winning, right? There's you have the moral, you go to trial. I was watching the thing about this Walsh guy that literally butchered up his wife after she was dead. He's claiming that, he found her, she suddenly died. That you don't even have to be a good attorney. You just have to, you may not win the arguments. The other one maybe have all the flashy words and just, really able to convince. I've gone into court with people that suck and that don't even have an attorney, and I've lost. And I will contend has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the facts. Okay. So you can have a debate. You can have, Dave is hands down a better debater, I believe, than Zulu, at least watching that. He has the charisma. He has the ability to take real world things. And why I think Zulu lost on that kind of thing is exact example I'm going to give, where Dave is, we're talking about, I'm the most consistent MFer in there. So then Zulu tries to use that and says, aha, but you aren't because this and this and this. And Dave's like, I mean, come on, that's like a self-styled title off of a Tupac thing. And he's like, but you're not the most consistent. You're not Mr. Libertarian. And Dave's like, come on, just for a second, try not to be so autistic about this. And then Dave leaves because he had, was on there for 2.5 hours. And then Zulu and Jacob were left there. And Zulu's like, yeah, him calling people with a mental deficiency, basically autistic, that's really that's the disturbing thing you got out of this. You're disturbed that he used words that you didn't like, that aggressed on you, but you would, allow your kids someone to literally kill your kids and you not do what you had to do, which is to aggress. So anyway, I thought that was stupid. And I did think for that reason alone, you just can look at the debating skills there. Dave has it. And obviously that got under his thing. But here's the reason why that comment from Dave is not hurtful. What are some symptoms of being autistic? You have no ability to have the sarcasm, or at least really reduced. I rode bikes with a guy on the spectrum. As you can imagine, the sarcasm is what, to me, I noticed the first. I'm horribly sarcastic, right? Self-deprecating, all these things are the kind of people I love to. And so when you have this and you make a sarcasm a comment, or you are sarcastic and they don't get that, that means they're taking everything literal. So Dave was not literally saying, I dislike, you need to stop, tone down, take some meds so you're not as autistic. It's like, dude, be able to take a joke, right? I'm not literally the most consistent MFer. I think I am consistent, but I mean, whatever. So you can take the title. I thought that was pretty funny. Zulu was reading a script. Most likely, it was a good interview with Clint. Yes, it was. Hi, JC. Oh, JC's in the chat. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. It's 7 pages. We're going to walk through it, and then I can't wait to get to, I almost wanted to just change everything and not even do this, but I'm like, we need to do it. We need to do it. We're going to do the complaint, and then we're going to get to this, okay? I'm a special agent with the FBI and have been employed since 2009. I am an investigative or law enforcement officer of the United States within the Title 18 of USC 2510, Section 7. That is an officer of the United States who is employed by law to conduct investigations and to make arrests for offenses enumerated in Section 2516 of the Title 18 United States Code. As an FBI special agent, I have received extensive training in it. Okay, so he's done this. We've talked about this with the Nick Rekieta stuff, who wears sunglasses on a show now for some odd reason, maybe just toned down. It's obviously a thing. I haven't seen a lick of Nick Rekieta. I've just seen clips, and he wears sunglasses and a suit jacket. It feels, I don't know, Don Johnson-like to me. Anyway, we see this where they have to set out who they are, why they can do this affidavit. The affidavit is submitted to support a criminal complaint alleging that Brian Cole has transported in interstate commerce an explosive with the knowledge or intent that it is to be used, kill, injure, intimidate an individual, or unlawfully to damage and destroy any building, vehicle, and has maliciously damaged and destroyed and attempted to damage and destroy by means of fire. Attempted, that's the one he's going to, and maybe the statute's all wrapped up in the same one. So in other words, they don't charge you more harshly for being good at your job. The affidavit is based on my personal knowledge. Okay, because it's let's go. At approximately 1 p.m. on January 6, 2021, multiple law enforcement agencies received reports of a suspected improvised device IED in the vicinity of headquarters of the RNC in Washington, D.C. At approximate 1:15 on the same day, a second suspected IED was reported just blocks away from the vicinity of the headquarters and the DNC. The RNC and DNC are national organizations that engage in activities on the national level and on behalf of their respective political parties, including the solicitation of donations from individuals outside of D.C. The headquarters are an organization. The headquarters of each organization is used in interstate commerce and in activity affecting interstate commerce. Hazardous Devices Section of the U.S. Capitol Police, USCP, responded and performed a render-safe procedure on both devices. Doesn't say how they, maybe it will later on, how they knew that there was a device that they had to render safe. Subsequently, the FBI assessed that the two devices were both IEDs, which contained a main explosive charge, a fusing system, and a container. The FBI also assessed that the IEDs used a hard metal container, metal pipe nipples, and components of the disrupted devices. These components were processed as evidence and submitted to the FBI laboratory for analysis. The FBI lab issued a report regarding the two devices, opining that the submitted items consisted of two destructive devices, that the use of a hard metal container showed that the weapon characteristics were present. IEDs were both of a kind, more commonly known as a pipe bomb. Both IEDs were manufactured using a collection of components, parts, and main explosive charge. The component parts included a 1-inch by 8-inch pipe, end caps affixed to the pipe, 14-gauge electrical wire in red and black, alligator cap clips to connect the wires, 9-volt battery and 9-volt battery connector, a white kitchen timer. How long does that timer go for? Paper clips, steel wool, and homemade black powder. Pipe bomber identified on surveillance. Review of video surveillance footage from the evening of January 5, 2021 shows that the pipe bombs at the RNC DNC were placed by the same individual. Well, there's no facial recognition, so you're going to have to go off of gait and other things to identify that this is the same person, dress, shoes, da-da-da-da-da. And that gait may be a problem. We've talked about that. Well, we haven't, but Steve Baker did a whole report saying it's this lesbian chick that worked for the CIA based on gait analysis. Julie, what's her name? Julie Kelly was all over that. That's not true. And then Kyle Seraphin. So there's people that are differing factions. And this is kind of what I was saying earlier about, not being a team person, which is sometimes you just got to take some of these little things, each little thing individually, and see where they lead from the news reporting. Because sometimes I think these people get worked up in their own narrative, and then they won't allow new reporting to happen. And I will say this, whether you guys like him or not, Ian Carroll, this is what I do like about him, which is he doesn't seem to be so caught up in his own. In other words, someone else has something, he takes that, and people are like, oh, but he's using other people's research. Okay, yes, he's using the research, but he's also using it in a way that's helpful to him and to us, actually. I'm going to put the chat up above here. You're not going to see it, but I can go into it. What are we saying here? You did that. Zulu was reading, oh, hi Flacco, you are teasing us. Yes, I am teasing you because this is what's going to come up shortly. We're going to talk about this and play some clips, but I want to get through this real quick. In the video surveillance, there we go. All the same clothing, the individual traveled on foot. The FBI conducted a reverse projection photogrammetry examination, i.e. height analysis, in the video descriptive. So this is important because according to Kyle Seraphin, and he showed pictures, this guy looks like all torso. It's like he almost has like midget legs. And that doesn't look like the person we saw walking around there. The height analysis showed that the distance from the top of the individual's head to the headwear is 5'7", an error correction of 1.1 inches. Brian Cole, 30-year-old Westbridge, Virginia Cole, is 5'6" and wears corrective lenses. Now, could we confirm that this person had corrective lenses on? I don't know. Cole, it doesn't say anything that he's autistic. Evidently, he's very autistic, and he would not get Dave's jokes. Cole lives in a family house, other residences, works on the office of the bail bondsman in Northern Virginia. The FBI has identified one bank checking account and 6 credit cards used by Cole. The FBI obtained records from the checking account and 3 credit cards from the same period. 3 additional cards were obtained at the time period of 2018 to 2025. The FBI reviewed the transaction history for all of these accounts. 2019-2020, Cole purchased multiple items consistent with the components that were used in the manufacture of the bombs placed at the RNC and DNC. Cole used the accounts to purchase these items from physical retail locations in Northern Virginia as described, da-da-da-da. Now, they're going to have to actually try to match up as best they can these purchases with the actual devices, components in those bombs. Both pipe bombs, to hide his cocaine use, you said here, Fred. That you're talking about Ricada, right? Okay. I get that. That makes sense. Both pipe bombs were manufactured using a 1-inch by 8-inch galvanized pipe, galvanizing hot zinc galvanized, hot dipped. I'm sorry, I don't know, or electrical. The hot dipped is the way you really meld it into the patina of the. I've worked for a galvanized association for a while. Product labeling. Cole purchased a total of 6 galvanized pipes of this size and shape on or about June 1 to 8. November 16, 2020, the purchases were made at 2 different Home Depot locations in Northern Virginia. According to the pipe manufacturer, approximately 26,000 of these pipes from pipe manufacturer were sold in 2020, and over 22,000 of these were sold to Home Depot. Both pipe bombs were manufactured using end caps, which were used to close the ends of the tight 8-inch pipe. The pipe bombs placed outside the RNC had pipe manufacturer product labeling. Cole purchased a total of 12 black end caps and 2 galvanized end caps from 4 different Home Depots in Northern Virginia. According to the pipe manufacturer, approximately 233,000 of those black caps from pipe manufacturer were distributed in 2020, including to Home Depot. In addition, approximately 179,200 galvanized end caps from pipe manufacturers distributed in 2020, including to Home Depot. Pipe bombs were manufactured using 9-volt battery connector with attached red and black wires. The 9-volt battery connectors were used in the pipe bombs to have identified information in the black and insulated wires that were consistent with those distributed in North America by a known company. Okay, so pipe bombs, more stuff. Pipe bombs were packed with steel wool. Cole purchased steel wool from Home Depot. Okay, so maybe so. In addition to purchasing these types of components, Cole purchased equipment that would fabricate the manufacturing of the pipe bombs, such as safety glasses. Holy shit! I wore safety glasses yesterday, demolishing a bathroom. I hope I'm not in the list as well. A wire stripping tool. I bought those too. Wire nuts. Holy shit! That's me too. Sandpaper. I bought sandpaper right last week. Holy crap. A machinist file, a tool for shaping and smoothing metal parts on or about. Okay, I've done that. Protective gloves. We're at Home Depot Saturday. My wife got some protective gloves. Is she making a bomb? Fred says he didn't pay in cash. What a retard. Well, that is going to be part, I don't know if that's going to be his defense, the cash, but the retard part. Evidently, he's not very communicative. He's not very, I don't know, he might be severely on the spectrum, according to these people, neighbors and whatnot. Go check the Kyle Seraphin interview with Clint. Following the placement of the bombs, Cole continued to make purchases of components used in bomb making. Well, okay. For example, what did he do with those, though? Was he like the BTK killer, where he just went cold for a while? White kitchen timer. See, part of the problem with the white kitchen timers is if he places them the night before to go off in the morning. I think these things are like an hour, 30 minutes. I mean, this doesn't, are these even able to go off? Kyle Seraphin was saying that these were inert, that they had no chance of going off. So you could place bombs, fake ones out there. You know, let's say you said you had a bomb and you were scaring people, in an airport and people freaked out and whatnot. I'm sure they can charge you with that. But is it going to be the same charge if it's just, hot dogs instead of like C4 or something like that? Since as early as January 5, Cole has been the user of a specific telephone number associated with the cell. Okay, so now it's like cell phone records in these areas. I'm sorry, I really want to get to this, so we're just going to cruise through here. But I'll probably keep this in mind if I have to go back through it later. Approximately 7/39/27, the Cole cell phone interacted with a particular sector. So they have his phone. I would say, hey, what's this tard doing at this time of night by himself down there, right? Oh my God, did you hear about the guy who got caught for attempted murder in Belgium and got mad at Graphene OS for reporting on him? I have not. An hour is 30 minutes in the I think I said an hour or 30 minutes. I don't know. I haven't looked up a kitchen timer. We can always do that. We can look up a kitchen timer, and we can do it. Okay, so there's just more of his times there. What else do we got here? Other contacts and what the FBI has analyzed Cole's purchase history associated with the accounts between then and then. Made a total of 5 purchases within Washington D.C. on or about those dates. Approximately 3 weeks before the pipe bombs were placed on or about December 14, Cole made a purchase at a restaurant located 1st and D Streets. Conclusion, for all the reasons stated above, the probable cause, Now, I'll just say this real quick, which is, let's say this guy did it or he didn't do it. I don't know. I just am interested in them getting the actual person that did it. It feels like to me, and you see this with the FBI, shouldn't the FBI just come out there and say, hey, we're against pipe bombers? They specifically are like, this was a failure on the former administration, and it's just like, they're so political about it. And I know it's especially cash. It's just bad. How does any of this get us Tar Gang back? Well, tomorrow, Toad and I will be on a show together, if that helps. A little jokes. Okay. Let's get to, do we want to play this first? Maybe let's play this by MTG. I don't know if I really want to play this whole thing, but it is a little bit interesting. Okay, that's all I wanted to play there because I think that leads into what we're going to be playing next here. And I'm going to go over a few things. First of all, Nick said that he, what did he say here? That he was a racist. Okay, I own it. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, I don't think he should have I don't think he should be owning that. That's because his definition might be much different than someone else's definition. So I just like, and I don't like how just like you saw there with Marjorie Taylor Greene, basically like, wait, bend it down. I mean, just the way, the language around this, we've talked about this. Watch the documentary. I did a members only. Go to Substack. They don't have the hit for that right now. Go to Substack, tyleryonkey.substack.com. Sign up there for free, but you can see the members only where we watched the the documentary called Defamation, and it's the scare tactics for the kids to go over there. And then literally, Abe Foxman, I think it was his parents, he used to be in front of the charge of the ADL. They're literally kind of like, well, you know, this is kind of our religion. Okay. That's a bit much. But I think that's important because here we go for this next thing. Piers Morgan, this first section we're going to play everything at 1.25 speed. Let's start with this.
Sometimes you get executed. And so as a white person...
How do you feel about mass shootings at school?
Oh, hang on a second. It's for some reason it's got a little problem here. So what I'm playing this clip is because it's the tactic stuff about Piers. And it's essentially... Let me get this going back here again. It's talking about, Nick is like, I don't want to live in areas with black people, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I just don't think he's super articulate about a lot of these things. And I think he misses a lot of chances the way he argues this. So then Piers Morgan pulls out this thing about school shooters. So anyway, let's go here.
Sometimes you get executed. And so as a white person...
How do you feel about mass shootings at school?
I think they're bad.
Who do you think commits the vast majority of the mass shootings?
I'm sure it's white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime. And it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were...
So he didn't answer the question. He immediately goes to something else. He being Piers Morgan, because I think this is indicative of the problem with this interview. One, I don't think this is actually where Nick does good, but I don't even like his underlying premise. Hubbleson said this interview sucked. I totally agree. I was frustrated with it on actually both sides. I don't think Nick comported himself in a very good manner. As far as putting out his ideas. I think completely, and we're going to play one here, his sarcasm and his pushback against Piers, perfectly fine. I think that's top-notch, way to go. But I think this was a problem area for me. I found this was a problem area for me because he could not properly, what I felt was defend his positions that he should be able to.
Perpetrated by young white men. And
what proportion?
I'm curious whether your advice would be to people who have kids in these schools.
Is my mic working?
Should they avoid white people at school? Should people with the kids at school avoid young white men at school?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know proportionality? There are more black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or are involved in gangs, especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters compared to the entire white population, and everybody understands that.
Two-thirds of mass shootings at school perpetrated by white people.
It's just this is the dishonest part here. Piers going over this, coming back to it because if you do you not understand? Let me explain. I'm sure you guys do in the chat. I'm sorry, some of the ACs that are coming on here. Which is what Nick is saying. He's like, for the amount of white people out there, the amount of crime in this instance is minuscule. What I'm saying is black crime for the overpopulation. It's like there's a difference there. It's okay. So that's the premise we're working on.
But what proportion of white men commit school shootings? That's the question.
I've just told you. It's 60-65% of school shootings by white people.
You're telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people.
I will say this, because he fact-checked them earlier, and he's like, we got a team working real time right now, as Piers said, fact-checking what you're saying. So they can't fact-check this because it is only in Nick's favor. So they refuse to do it, and therefore Piers obfuscates on this.
I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings. Are you playing dumb, or are you just not that smart?
What difference does that make to the children lying dead on the ground?
See, now you want to jump on the
And I want to bring this back later, because the victim, being able to claim yourself as a victim, him to rephrase it from what does it matter if you're yes, this is what I just said about the FBI stuff. Stop being political about this and do it this way. But you can't avoid yourself from facts. Compares apples to oranges. Yes.
victims. The difference is you're asking, would you fear white people or black people? And that's the difference. The difference is
what I'm saying to you is by your logic, if we now have agreed that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres. But it won't be because they're white, right?
So are you playing dumb or are you actually dumb?
Maybe
it's
I'm
about
dumb.
proportionality.
Maybe I'm dumb.
You are because you're, well, I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita. And everybody knows that's the difference. What proportion of white men are school shooters? It's probably 0.00001%. What proportion of black men have committed violent crimes? It's probably like 5%. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's very high. And I would add to that, even as it concerns schools, why do you think parents pay a super high property tax to live in a school district where there's white people? Because they know that if they go to the black school, it's going to be the Bloods and the Crips. It's going to be gangs. It's going to be, you talk about school shootings. Nobody talks about all the school shootings that are committed by gangbangers in and around the school and all the other violence that's associated with that. I mean, these schools in the south side of Chicago, it's just not
I have an answer for you, Nick. So the proportion of the population.
He's got an answer. He's got an answer for him, because his crack staff of researchers is going to come up with this. I didn't think the premise was very difficult to take. And this is where I'm just, anyway, we'll just keep going. I'm not defending Nick, by the way. I'm just like, this stuff frustrates me from a person of Piers Morgan. And here you go.
Mass shootings is actually the same for black and white.
For white people, the proportion of,
the proportion
again,
of the population.
are you hearing it? No.
I think the trouble with your statistics is a lot of them don't bear much scrutiny. We have a bunch of fact checkers checking all this in real time because you do have a tendency to just come out with a lot of old baloney. And when you say, well, it's true. And when you're confronted with reality, you don't like it.
What's the figure? What proportion of white people have committed school shootings? With white people as the denominator and white people that have committed school shootings as the numerator, what's that percentage?
For both black and whites, the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings generally is about the same.
No. Tell me the number, and then
the only focus of your attention is
okay. I want to move on from there. So that is, hang on, I got a volume thing here. So just blows my mind because Piers can't just go, oh, okay, from there. Now Nick later on says, look, you're in a school, you got some kid, he's a little autistic. He said autistic Zulu. He's a little autistic. He looks like his look in his eye like he's got SSRIs, and he goes to open a backpack, and kids run. Right? It's like that seems logical, right? That's the kind of person, or maybe it's a trainee furry or something like this. You would run away. His point is that's you've spotted it out. You're now worried about this because that seems to be the type of people that are doing this kind of violence. Then you have 5 baggy pants black guys getting out of a jalopy. You're gonna run as well. That makes sense to me. But anyway, that's
the black.
That was a little bit rough. Okay, here's the next one. I don't remember what I set this one up for, but let's play this. Go.
So I have an answer for you, Nick. So the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings is actually the same.
Okay, so I already played that one. So
black and white.
For white people,
Okay, so let's go. You know what? Hang on a second. I'm going to make sure that I have school shootings, proportionality. Okay, so I just ran that one further. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay, let's go to this next one. This next one is about Holocaust denial.
1,000 have been killed. And I'm going to play you this clip.
People talk about, well, what about the gas chain? Political benefit upon Jews. That's why.
It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there.
You think that's funny?
It's funny. It's amusing what you're doing because, that one was a joke. But do you want to talk seriously about the Holocaust?
I do actually. I do because I just find it extraordinary that you would think the Holocaust could ever be something that we could joke about.
Why? Too soon?
Okay, this is where Nick. Okay, look, too soon. And then I would go back to him, and if I was, this was my thinking at the time. I'd be like, "Are you telling me that no one has ever told a Holocaust joke? Okay, no one. Matter of fact, what's his name? He's very dark. He doesn't like a lot of the Legion of Skanks guys. I'm trying to remember his name. I heard him tell a Holocaust joke not too long ago. Hilarious. You're telling me you can't do this? Wasn't there a whole movie that got kind of panned? It was supposed to be like some, Woody Allen guy in the ghetto or something. I mean, Hogan's Heroes, Hogan's Heroes, right? In the 1960s or to 70s, I think it was 60s and 70s, TV show about concentration camp, right? Right? Yeah. So just insanity that you can't make jokes about this and you have to prostrate yourself. Now they're going to talk about this more, so we'll get there.
Is it too soon to make jokes?
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jewish people?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 7 million. What's the number? 6 million, something like that?
So you
8 million?
You concede that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust?
Possibly more. Possibly, we're discovering all the time. So it could be maybe even be more than that.
So why have you doubted the numbers in the past?
I'll tell you why. I really think that every death is a tragedy, however many Jewish people died in the Holocaust. And I'm not a World War II historian, so I'm actually open to believing the official narrative, and I've read some of the conspiracy theories. And to tell you the truth, it's a rigorous debate. But what's interesting about this is in many countries, it's not even legal to talk about it. And that's really where my interest in the Holocaust begins and sort of ends, to tell you the truth, is that if you wanted to question the number, you would be put in jail in about, 17 or 18 European countries. And I think that's really the more interesting conversation, which is that this is almost like a religious dogma in the West. No other genocide, no other atrocity is treated like this. Could you imagine if in the United States they said the number of Palestinians killed in Gaza is 100,000, and if you don't say that, you're going to jail, you're banned on X, you can't have a job? That's the part that's totally insane. And a lot of people, they can't even make up their minds. I think it's actually done a disservice. If your goal, and I'm not saying you as Piers Morgan, but if you're an advocate for awareness about this, if your goal is to convince everybody that this is the way the Holocaust happened, I think the last thing you'd want to do is say that everyone that disagrees is in jail and is banned and you're not allowed to say it. So there's really been no open debate about the subject since the scholarship started to be produced about 60 years ago.
But there is no debate to be had about the number of people who were murdered.
Okay, that just blew me away there too. We can have this debate, and then he does ask him about crimes. Let's go here to this next one.
You think that Holocaust denial laws should be overturned?
I don't particularly agree with Holocaust denial laws. I don't think people should be imprisoned. Okay. Well, because I have a blanket view now, which has evolved slightly actually over the years, that I have a blanket view that speech should not be. I understand why in places like Germany, they have strong laws about it because they want to move on from what they believe was the most shameful moment in their history. I understand that. Do I want that in my country? No. Am I appalled by what has been going on with free speech in the United Kingdom in the last 2 or 3 years? Absolutely. It is ridiculous that people have been frog marched to prison cells for stuff they put on social media, right? So yeah, I do. I think what is more interesting to me about our exchange is I was not expecting you to go the opposite way. I was not expecting you to be so emphatic that at least 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. And there'll be people watching this who I think will be very surprised by that, because you have built a reputation for being, if not a Holocaust denier, then somebody constantly questioning in a downward way the number of Jews who were murdered. That doesn't appear to be what your position is now.
No, and here's what I would like to see for my entire career. When I started my show, it started with a good faith inquiry where I was questioning a lot of these narratives and I said, what is the answer on the other side? But what I found is that the answer was criminalized. So when you would talk about anything regarding Jews, Israel, the Holocaust, you could be in favor of the official narrative on those things. If you went against, you were banned, censored, and in some countries jailed.
And I would just say, if you make a joke about it, you're also viewed this way from Piers Morgan. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm going to get to the best one, though. Oops, that's not the one I wanted here. Why did it take, where's the chat? Oh, there we go, Rumble Studio. Maybe that's the one I need. Okay, there we go. Piers is using categorical weasel lie about mass shooting versus regular shooting. I understand what you're doing there. Yeah, like completely. I don't like how the one tank driver was a shiftless hippie, Hogan's Heroes. Now, that piqued my interest because which one was that? I mean, there was Hogan himself, Brian. I won't say Cranston, but I'm trying to remember his name. But he ended up killing himself, like a autoerotic asphyxiation type of thing. I don't know. There's some weird stuff there. Dawson used to be from Family Feud. He was on there, but I think he was playing like Brit. But then there was the French guy. Who was the hippie? Was it the French guy? Because then, of course, it's a hippie. Yeah, some Jewish people do make jokes about the Holocaust, particularly within Jewish communities, and among those with a personal or generational connection to the events. If it was 1 million, it would still be horrible. But here, exactly true, and it's not even. This is why the numbers thing is so ridiculous. And this is so I'm going to play this next one here. This is to me the more gotcha of the Piers Morgan stuff. And I don't even think Nick doesn't actually almost realize it's the gotcha. But let's play this.
Organized Jewry. That is what they always fall back on. They cannot be criticized. They cannot be named. They cannot be talked about, lest there be another Holocaust. And no other tragedy is treated that way, and no other ethnic group has a get-out-of-jail-free card. Just play that. Anti-Semitism and Holocaust. You can do whatever you want and defend all your actions. That's the part that people are getting upset with. That's the problem.
And Piers will push back a bit about this, but that's exactly what just happened with if you don't, then why does the exact number matter? Why does it matter? It really matters to the Israelis over there killing the Gazans. They're always pushing the number down, right? It doesn't matter there.
I don't know any right-minded person who believes that Jewish people weaponize the Holocaust for their
unbelievable. It doesn't weaponize the Holocaust. That is the fact that Piers was stunned that he would think that would be funny, a few minutes before this, and then say no one weaponizes the Holocaust. Blows me away.
Their own personal get out of jail free or whatever you called it.
You don't know anyone that does that? That believes that?
I'm sure there are some people that do that, but it's such a ridiculous generalization. The truth is that most Jewish people have lost relatives in the Holocaust. In fact, I want to play you two clips. One is where you talk about Adolf Hitler.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool.
You regret saying that?
Saying a fact? No.
So this is the problem with Nick. He can't, I get it. I get the deduction. And it's the same thing when you finally took forever for him to explain his thing about Stalin for some reason. He doesn't come out and say what I would probably say, which I would push back to Piers, and I'd say, a few years ago, I mean, I'm going to use, because Piers, I think, went down this rabbit hole pretty heavily. Would you not say that Michael Jackson was pretty fucking cool? Music, all the stuff he did. Yeah. Oh, then he did some horrible things to some kids, according to, I think, Piers Morgan. I'm not saying, there's doubt out there. I'm just reflecting that. Can you not look back and even say, watching those videos, I'm sorry, the guy had swag, look at his drip, all this stuff, burning hair, one glove, pretty fucking cool, right? I wasn't a Michael Jackson fan of that. I could imagine that's and that could be the way. Nick tries to explain that, but he can't.
Oh, no, that's absolutely true.
It's pathetic.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do. And I'm tired of pretending he's not.
Well,
to be honest.
This is the problem, you see. It's a bit like when you just say, I'm a racist. You're a racist who thinks Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic. If you're a Jewish person watching this, what are they thinking? I'll tell you what they're thinking, because I've got a friend of mine called Danny Finkelstein, who, when he heard I was interviewing...
And this is, remember, we talked a little bit about, I couldn't imagine Jews using the Holocaust as a weapon. That would just never happen. But let me play a video of a Jew using the Holocaust as a weapon.
He's a Times journalist in the UK, very eminent journalist here, and author, who wrote a book about his own family's experiences at the hands of Hitler and Stalin, because you also told Tucker Carlson that you admire Stalin. But let's just take what Danny said here.
Hi Piers, it's Danny Finkelstein here. As you're interviewing Nick Fuentes, you might try suggesting to him that he reads my book, Hitler, Stalin, Mum and Dad. It's called Two Roads Home in the United States. Since he says he's on Team Hitler, you might like to ask him,
did he say he was on Team Hitler? This is another thing that Nick does not push back against. And I would be saying, holy crap. There's a thing about drip. There's a thing about being cool. He does mention the uniforms. He does mention the speeches and all these kind of things. It doesn't. He just said 6-8 million people. He thought maybe it's up to 10 million. Okay, I don't know if I was being hyperbolic or whatever, but that's literally what he said. Plus, he also said, I don't think anybody should be, murdered and killed. I don't like that at all. So you can put those things together and think that he doesn't actually want Hitler. He didn't say he was on team Hitler, but he doesn't push back on this. So a lot of this is him for not being, and he's a good wordsmith. So I put it on him either being intentionally provocative like this and kind of, if you're going to go on these shows and you're going to try to, blow this shit up, at least do it right.
About the fact that Hitler arrested my mum, tried to starve my mum to death, did starve my grandmother to death, sent my great aunt to the gas chamber, my great uncle, my cousin. My grandmother on my father's side ended up being 1 out of 7 children, the only one that survived the war. So you might ask him whether he wouldn't rather be on Team Mum rather than Team Hitler. And as for celebrating Stalin's birthday, well, Stalin took my father, sent him to a state collective farm, sent my grandmother and to a state collective farm, sent my grandfather to the Gulag. You might try asking why he doesn't celebrate Dad's birthday rather than Stalin's. It may all be a big joke to him, but he complains that he was 18 when someone tried to cancel him. Well, Stalin and Hitler arrested my mum and my dad when they were 10 years old. So perhaps he might like to reconsider his joke.
I just felt like this owned Piers. You just said that they're like this owned Piers Morgan. He owned Nick on it. No. This to me was the epitome, right? Because you're talking all this time about young guy making jokes, and you literally asked him about the Holocaust, and he's like, "I'm not going to fall in line. I think it's more than what you even said it was. Perfectly fine. Shit happened, but I don't like that you can't question it or you can't make jokes, right, about this stuff." And then Piers, because Piers already had it in mind, he told you there, he expected him to say the Holocaust wasn't real or whatnot, but you got to play this anyway. And Nick set him up and then doesn't ever collapse on it. He doesn't actually, come back and say, you just played a guy using the Holocaust as like his protection device, which is, I don't care. Maybe Nick has had people shoot the gun at him, right, at his own place. Has this guy ever had someone come in? That's your mom. That's your dad. I get it. But anyway, let's keep going here.
See, that's the reality of your jokes. Although I haven't ascertained yet whether you are joking.
That's the reality of your jokes.
When you say that Hitler was very fucking cool. Are you joking, or do you actually think he was very fucking cool? The most genocidal monster of the last 150 years?
Yeah, the thing is, my generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching.
You might be, but then your generation hasn't gone through what Danny Finkelstein's family went through. So maybe the pearl clutching has a way to go.
Right, but if you were to say, okay, well, the Jews haven't gone through what the black slaves did, so why don't they be quiet? It's just like, Piers, come on, we're now 80. How many years past this are we? It's almost getting 60, 80. Getting closer there. This gentleman, okay, maybe he needs to just, I wouldn't say move on, but at some point, the terminal effect to him isn't the same as what happened to everybody else. So you don't get to use that perpetually.
Go for families whose family members
were murdered. Yeah, we got all that. Me mom. Like I don't even know who this person is. Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed by Hitler.
Because he doesn't find it funny when you say Hitler's very fucking cool.
I don't care. I don't care.
I know you don't care. That's fine. You don't have to care. But he does care.
Does that guy care about America? Does that guy care about me and my country and my family? No.
He cares what you, a prominent conservative in America, has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Wait, what? He's fucking a monster.
Okay. That's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow
up?
He murdered
12 million people. He murdered 12 million people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II, and it's fascinating, and it's interesting, and it's compelling. and it's cool. And, we're just tired of saying these kinds of things. We want to talk like real people and give our honest opinions. And then we literally get an old Jewish guy from England who's going to say, oh, that's not very funny, mate. Me mom. And it's like, shut up. Like, no one is in favor of genocide. So let's just get that out of the way. We're not in favor of a Holocaust or genocide.
Do you think if half your family
years ago,
you think if half your family had been wiped out by very fucking cool Hitler, you'd still think he was very fucking cool?
The question should come back to Piers from, and it won't, from Nick here. It should be, if my family had died in any other kind of genocide besides the Holocaust, do you think you would effing care or this guy would effing care? No, it's only that one. And that is the problem. That is the problem. And I think Nick did somewhat do this. Once again, I'm not going to keep going down this because I think at this point we're done. I was very disappointed in Nick going on with Steven Crowder doing his economic stuff. I thought that was putrid. I didn't think he did an exceptional job here. Some of these clips I was fine with. I still think he could have made a thing, and you're going to have to prostrate yourself a little bit. I'm sorry, just because of and maybe he's trying to, change the window, Overton window on this stuff, which we just don't have to always say, and I was going to say prostrate ourselves about the Hitler stuff again. It's like you can watch those videos and, the Man in the High Castle as an example where it's alternative history. Or I just saw another one, SSGB, with the alternative where the Nazis have actually won World War II and things are different. And you look at their uniforms, it's like, yeah, they're cars. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Okay, there's a lot of that. It doesn't mean that it's still not scary, right? If they're coming after you or that you would want to be on their team, as that guy said, Finkelstein. It does. You can be removed from it when you're a 20-year-old, when it's 2025, and you can say, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, Mao Zedong and all these other things, just horrible things that have happened throughout the world. That was an interesting thing to me, which is where, Finkelstein, grown up, Holocaust and all this stuff, but yet he was a Maoist. That was pretty interesting. Liberals using the F word like a toddler that found a knife in a drawer. Yeah. Yeah. Do we have anything else here? I think that's where we wanted to go. Go ahead and watch that interview. It's somewhat it's what it is, I guess. Did I have any? I think I had some other bookmarks I wanted to take a look at here. Let's look at this one only because I hate these kind of people. Watch this here. This person says, I never back into a spot. Almost, and I like this because I don't back into spots either. Almost never. There's people at my gym who do exactly this and take 4 to 5 runs at it. It is much easier to back out of a spot than it is to back in. Fight, yeah. So let's take a look at this person. Now, is this a male or female? Because I've seen both doing this. The car goes past. Still can't get it right. Nope, still can't. Okay. Is this like a Land Rover Evoque or something? Oh, she had to get out. Oh, she. Okay, there you go. So it's almost there. Oh, and then it's still too tight on that side. Oh, can barely get out. Can she get out? Definitely a girl. Definitely embarrassing. Oh, it's an
what?
Audi. It's an Audi. Embarrassing. Yeah, don't back into spots. It's usually a douche move. A lot of short guys that drive big, high pickups love to do that. And part of the reason is, like we saw, that it's a dramatic example, but typically one move back out and you're good to go, okay? So what's the point? Now, I pulled through spots, so you're easy to leave. But even then, the problem is cars aren't designed to go back and forth like that. So if you're not lined up exactly, the same direction, it's problematic for the doors, okay? It is. Last one we'll do here, I think we'll get struck. I might get struck if I play that one, so I'm not going to. That's all we had today. Let me go to, hang on. I'm gonna pop this up here on the screen because I'm gonna advertise this for this evening. Okay. Let's go here. Deal. Oh, I'm not on there. There we go. Or is it better if we just do it this way? D.L. Cummings, Liberty Dad. Tonight, 8 p.m., join us for my first episode of Dad Talk Roundtable. Each month, we'll make sense of the world as men, husbands, and fathers. Our goal is to inspire other men through insight and experience. Topic, what I wish I knew before. Oh, I got to study. What I wish I knew before becoming a father, a husband and a father. Looks like Jacob Winograd is on there. DL, me, and is that Kanye? is the other guy? Backing up without a trailer is the easiest thing in the world. What the fuck? Well, it is true. Sad news, AskCon has been canceled. Wait. There's a movie right now out about the Nazis. Yes, there's always a movie about those. They give people Oscars for playing Nazis. Yeah, liberals use, okay. AskCon, interesting. AskCon has been canceled. Well, for me, that's good because I did not get my tickets for it. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm just saying I didn't get my tickets for it. Let's move this up a bit here. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go to work, go back to work, people. So I got some work to do. Let me just fill you in a little bit here as to what I've got going on. So I think I told you we were going to be doing our downstairs. We have 2 floors. It's not a huge house, which was great having 4 kids. It's spacious, but it's just, anyway. Bathroom upstairs. Then there's a master bathroom upstairs. They're not allowed in there, but there's a bathroom upstairs. And then there's a bathroom downstairs. Then there's a room downstairs too. And the bathroom upstairs is over the room. Now that we had to get that one, we were planning to redo the bottom bathroom, okay, already. So we were getting that worked around with, I have a contractor guy. I do work for him. He does work for me. That's kind of our thing there. And so we were already getting ready to do the bottom bathroom, and then all of a sudden there was water on the floor in the bedroom. The bathroom up front, top, our house was built in 2002, it was leaking, and so we had to redo the sheetrock in the bedroom. Then we just tore the whole bathroom apart. It's pretty much put back together. Okay, so I had to do a little, they're doing most of the work, but I'm doing a little bit of sheetrock finishing stuff here and there. So I'm doing that on Saturday. And then Sunday, I had to demolish the bathroom downstairs because the one upstairs is finally done. So I destroyed that whole thing. So they're doing more things at home. I've got all those things going on. It's a hectic life, but I've still got to work. And it's 2:00. I have to be home for a podcast at 5. I just realized it's 8 p.m. So we are going to go out. I've got a new outro. Remember to like and subscribe to the show, everybody. And we will see you. There's a good chance tomorrow has a show as well. Okay, I'm just throwing this out there. There's a good chance we do a show tomorrow. So like and subscribe. Go into the Substack so you get notifications of that. Wednesday, not likely because I have to go to court and maybe some more times this week. It's just the way we're going to do it. See ya.
Okay, I'm leaving now.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any knowledge of the real world,
none of us are screaming, "Let's kill Tyler."
Tyler says, "My
Jewish princess."
You low key, you're one of the funniest dudes in the Liberty world that I know.
More or less, eat shit and die.
He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in rural California. He's an idiot, really.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Do you see what he just did to Tyler?
I feel like you don't get the appreciation for your humorous wit.
What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Why don't you argue with something I said, you dumb bag?